So at first, when I got shadow banned, I was upset. I was like, damn, they did it to my page. Because I do really have a lot of content that I want to reach the masses. But then a peace of mind came over me because I started to realize that all those thousands of people that follow me, the people I'm seeing now and the likes and things I see now are the people looking for me. The people who actually want that information. And over the past couple of days since I asked for help, the people who are here are really what I consider my extended family. So I say thank you to you people because humbleness is an amazing thing. And despite how many of the numbers I have, the humbleness of just being able to see that reality right now was good for me because I'm still posting. But yo, you know what's man? I'm trying to do this dope video and this person can pull up and play this loud ass music next to me. And the sad part is they're white and my neighborhood is gentrified and this is so funny to me. So at first when I
Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? It's your girl here, Nia. Welcome to the channel. So, as you guys already see, I'm gonna be talking about a certain topic today as to why I don't really upload a whole lot like how I used to on this channel. So let's get into that topic. So, I've been wanting to talk about this for a minute. I'm not quitting YouTube. It's just that I've been seeing things that's been happening on my channel. And I noticed that when I talk about certain things like with celebrity, I get a lot of views for it. I just recently talked about, you know, Pornhub and the R word, and it got a lot of views. But when I talk about other topics that are very important, it really doesn't get shown on YouTube. And a lot of people are becoming aware of this, that certain things you can't talk about, like the V shot. You know what that is, right? Or you can't talk about the C virus, you know. I'm saying this because what they do is they block your videos or they just really don't show it. So I also began to know that it's not just on YouTube, it's on other platforms like Twitter, Instagram. I'm going to show a video of a guy that I watch on Instagram, and then I'm gonna tell you why his channel is banned. I mean, channel banned, channel block, where you can't really find it. So basically, my dude, he has a really good, channel on Instagram. He really does show a lot of things that other people don't show, and that's what I like. I sometimes I get my content from him, but what's happening is they don't want you to talk about certain topics, and he keeps talking about it. And I told people this was going to happen because they talked about this last year, that they were going to start censoring a whole lot of things on these channels. I mean, they said that it's going to get worse and worse every year, and that's exactly what happened with him. I also saw this happen with somebody else called Lovely T as well. So let me get my articles up here. I'm not posting a whole lot because you have to be careful as to what you post nowadays on social media. So this was back in 2020. This article is the New York Post, and it says why social media censorship is worse than usual. It says, and this was back in 2020, and I think it's already worse now. It says moderation. I can tell you firsthand, it's one of the most important challenging aspects of social media. With the COVID-19 pandemic, social networks have been under greater pressure than ever to police their platforms to prevent the spread of misinformation. I get that. As a result, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the other social media giants have cranked up their censorship into overdrive, but they are ignoring the structured programs that allow misinformation to be boosted on their platforms in the first place. These companies are increasingly dictating what their users should and should not see and be deleted. They are kicking out good users and taking down countless harmless posts, pages, groups, simply for asking questions about the C-19, or presenting opinions that differ with those from the company's executives and authorities. This widespread censorship of ideas will make George Orwell dizzy and runs counter to the whole purpose of social networking. On May the 11th, Twitter announced it will add labels to tweets with false or disputed information about the C19, and Facebook already started adding similar labels. This is a band-aid that does not solve the fundamental issues and can actually create even more problems. According to MIT research, when people see that some posts on social media have warning labels, they're far more likely to assume incorrectly that all posts without these warning labels have been verified by fact checkers. By the fact that only a fraction of the posts with false or unverified information are checked and marked as such. The basic problem is the micro-targeting business revenue model of Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all current mainstream social networks. These companies allow marketers and purveyors of misinformation to pay to boost content to target audience most to believe in it. Pizzagate is a well-known example of this. And 2 weeks ago, after Facebook had vowed to prevent misinformation, it allowed marketers to target ads to 78 million users' interest in putting warning labels on certain posts with unverified information is a superficial solution that fails to address the structural flaw. In contrast, my company, MeWe, has no targeting, no newsfeed manipulation, no way for advertisers, marketers, or political operatives to boost anything to users. This prevents any information or opinion, true or false, from being broadly promoted. Users need to deliberately seek out information for themselves and cannot be targeted by others who wish to reach and manipulate their thoughts. So, you see what I can go on and read a little bit more of this, but if you want to read more of this, I'll let you, I'll put a link in the description so you can read more of it. I'm just reading little bits and pieces of it so you can get the gist of what I'm talking about. So, basically, it's talking about that the censorship is out of control. I've seen this where they're censoring the wrong people. But a lot of the people, I do notice that they kind of, they don't have the right information, and they really, like the dude who I mentioned earlier. I really do like his content, but at the same time, he's an anti. And then you got some people who are pro, and they're not getting censored, but the anti-censor. So my thing is, okay, if you're gonna censor the person who is against it, then you need to also censor the person who is for vaccine. Don't just censor the people who you think you want. I mean, these social media platforms are supposed to be a place where we can talk freely, but it's not like that at all. So that's why, and then also, I wanted to actually talk about that. I said the word, oops, I just realized. I wanted to talk about it, but I can't because, your videos might get banned, you might get deleted. You don't know. So I wanted to let you guys see a video so I want you guys to see a video real quick. Basically, it's like, I guess Texas made some type of law to protect their social media people. I don't know how they even done that. I don't know if that's possible, because by the end of the day, the social media websites are going to do whatever they want to do. So let me play it for you guys. So I just show that to you guys. Now, as I was reading it, okay, I get, okay, yeah, that's good. It's like there's a way for the people to be heard. But then I looked and I would read a little closely to it. It was talking about how certain government officials were not able to talk or whatever, like because the Twitter is not going just against the regular people like us, but it's also going against it says Republicans or whatever from stopping them to speak. So I was like, oh, you guys are doing this pretty much because for you guys. So I was like, okay, I see a good side of it, and then I'm like, okay, well, I also seen a selfish side of it. So to each their own. I'm not really a political person. I'm not a person that talk about politics, but I was just bringing that out just to give you guys a heads up as what to ask they're actually talking about. And I want to kind of like show you guys an example. I did a video back, oh man, what year was it? I knew it's way back months ago. And my video got copyrighted. So it says see details, right? It got copyrighted not for the music that was used in the background. It got copyrighted for a scene that I show. It was not violence, it was just a scene that I show while I was talking about crazy ish that was happening on social media. It got copyrighted for this. It's so weird to me that I got copyrighted for that. And it's like it's no music or nothing in it. It's just something that happened between two people. They were having an argument in the store and they started fist fighting and stuff like, well, the guy got hit in the face. I don't know if it's because of that, but it says that it got copyrighted by Interstreet Recordings on behalf of Viral Records. There's no song in here. So I'm kind of confused by that. There's no song. So this video, I don't know when it got copyrighted. This is my video. This is my video. And this is what I'm saying. This is why us people can't grow. So it's called the Twisted Tea Smack. Apparently it's been copyrighted. What? So I tap on it and it brought me to this person right here. And I'm like, what? I'm so confused. But apparently this song went viral, whatever, and it was copyright. And this is what people have been talking about. A lot of the incidents that happened last year, people made music off of it, and then it got copyrighted. So it's just crazy. It just shows you how you get copyrighted for stupid things that don't even make any sense. Like not by an actual artist, but someone made a song of it, and now they copyright it. But you ain't gonna get no money from me. I don't make no money anyway. So I'm going to play an audio for you. This was February the 10th, 2020. Interesting. This is before a whole lot of ish went down in 2020. So I'm going to play this for you guys.
Should social media platforms be regulated? By Assad Business and Law School. Jonathan Wareham is professor at ESAID's Department of Operations, Innovation and Data Sciences. Yes, they should be. The more difficult question is how to do this effectively while differentiating between their various forms. Concerns about the public regulation of social media platforms emerged after the 2016 presidential elections in the US and the UK with the Brexit referendum, and have been further articulated by public critics such as Roger McNamee, Renee DiResta, Dipayan Ghosh, US presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren, or even comedians Sacha Baron Cohen. I will synthesize a number of their arguments and add my perspective. Platforms are business models that create marketplaces to match different parties with complementary interests, relying on what economists call indirect network effects. Dating sites, eBay, Facebook, YouTube, and operating systems such as Android and iOS are all different types of platforms. Social media platforms connect consumers with digital content creators and typically monetize their interactions through advertising revenue. Since platforms do not generally create their content, they contend that they are not responsible for what users produce and are thus exempt from the libel, defamation, and other laws and regulations that govern traditional media like newspapers and television. In other words, they are platforms for free speech and assume no responsibility for what their users communicate. This claim is correct to the extent that they create little of their own content. This varies. It is incorrect, however, to claim that they do not exercise editorial control over the content. Traditional television and newspapers are what we call broadcast journalism, meaning that they provide the same content to a broad, general audience. Social media platforms, by contrast, are narrowcasters. Given their ability to pinpoint who you are, their algorithms choose content exclusively for what they think you want to hear and see, making frequent, personalized editorial decisions based on your browsing behavior on their platforms, other websites, e.g., if you use Facebook or Google to log in, and geolocation information taken from your cell phone. Social media platforms are also what economists call natural monopolies, though this does not mean that they are monopolies like utility companies providing universal services. Instead, all parties benefit from the increased aggregation of supply and demand, liquidity and lower search costs when activities are concentrated in a few, large platforms. For example, if you want to sell a piece of rare memorabilia, you are better off if all the potential buyers are on a single platform. A similar logic applies if you are buying, posting, or sharing content. As such, when platform businesses such as Facebook, Twitter, or eBay first begin, fast growth is all imperative in a winner-take-all competition. Explicit rules about what is or is not allowed on these platforms are implemented only when necessary, as they can constrain its expansion and are expensive to implement. Remember the early days of YouTube when they allowed users to post any type of music, TV show, or film? Only after significant legal threats from the media industry did the online video streaming platform begin to impose restrictions on copyrighted material. A complicating factor is that platforms choose this content based upon maximizing user time, i.e., stickiness, on their site. There is an adage in the media world: if it bleeds, it leads. This refers to the fact that sensationalist, violent, or other scandalous content provokes more emotions and simply sells more newspapers or advertising. Hence, there is an acknowledged tendency for social media to show emotionally explosive content that speaks to convictions concerning politics, religion, or other prickly topics. This leads users to share content within their networks in exchange for likes and additional shares as a currency of status and self-affirmation. Some have termed the hyper-personalization bias of the platform's algorithms as filter bubbles, or echo chambers, and the fact that users are more likely to like and share the more polarizing topics has been called the amplification effect. While it might be unfair to hold Facebook or Twitter fully responsible for the recent electoral results in the UK and the US, their effects on the rise of populism and fringe movements, as well as the divisive, tribalistic behavior we often see online, are a topic of serious concern for sociologists and political scientists. Diversity of opinion is certainly positive and has to be celebrated. But, when platforms like Facebook are not held responsible for the accuracy of the content they present, there is no incentive for them not to show you the most outrageous or fake. Excessive social polarization is undesirable as it erodes the democratic institutions that protect free speech and other basic rights. Without some basic consensus on the common objectives of social welfare, democracies weaken and become dysfunctional or corrupt. Just like a chemical company that has to abide by environmental regulations, the social cost associated with social media platforms should be controlled to mitigate its worst effects. The final concern about social media platforms is that, by collecting so much demographic and behavioral data from our online activities, they can create a very precise digital model of who we are with significant predictive accuracy. They then sell these profiles, our digital twins or avatars, to advertisers both in and outside their platforms. They do this with little explicit knowledge or consent from their users. Moreover, users have no rights over their metadata. It is a competently asymmetric relationship, a Faustian bargain where, in exchange for carrying out searches, networking, and taking advantage of geolocation services, we as users allow these platforms into the most intimate corners of lives with little understanding of how or which of our secrets they sell. This paradox will surely increase as the adoption of wearable technologies grows, and the boundaries between regulated healthcare and unregulated consumer sports sectors blur. Here, the need for public conversations about additional regulation will most certainly increase. Most public regulation we know in the West emerged during the Great Depression, when poverty and social malaise spread like a virus and, as a result, new concepts of basic public health and social welfare emerged. Universal access to sanitation, clean water, electricity, telecommunications, education, and culture, lift everyone in society to a more prosperous life. If my neighbor is healthier, more sanitary, better educated, and economically secure, in all likelihood, so am I. The consequences of social media platforms that function on a quasi-monopolistic scale are just now beginning to be understood. They offer us many outstanding services that we could not imagine living without today. But, like many industries, there are undesirable consequences that work against the great social welfare. Serious conversations on how social media platforms should be regulated to minimize their social costs are critically needed.
So, the thing that really stood out to me is when they were talking about what we talk about on these social media platforms. They brought out that they talk the topics that are concerning to them are the political, religion, or other prickly topics, and it brings out that it's more like a polarizing topic for the viewers, and it's like an amplification effect. I'm like, these are some big, huge words, and I'm like, what does amplification effect? What is that? So I look up amplification, and it says amplification. It says the process of increasing the volume of sound, especially using an amplifier. The action of increasing the amplitude of the electrical signal or other action of making something more marked or intense. The action. Oh, okay. Maybe it's this because okay. Maybe it's the definition number 2. The action of enlarging upon or adding detail to a story or statement. The action of making multiple copies of gene or DNA sequence. I think when they were talking about that application effect, the action of enlarging upon or adding detail to a story or a statement. So I think I mentioned this early, and I'm going to mention it again. I feel that a lot of times this makes the drama channels look so bad. There's some people that their stories on YouTube or whatever they're talking about is false. So it makes other people like us look bad. And so I'm beginning to notice, like, well, dang, what can I talk about? That's not gonna be seen like it's fake. And, right now, they don't want us talking about the V shot. They don't want you talking about the C virus. So they really want you to stay away from those topics. So those are called prickly topics and political topics. I also noticed too something when they talk about the politic topics. Oh, tongue twister, and prickly topics. I noticed something. Let me show you something. So on my channel content, I don't have a lot of views. I noticed that something is kind of weird. I got a lot of views for Pornhub. When I talked about Pornhub, from the R word, child pornography, and sex trafficking, I got a lot of views for that. But I also noticed And I also noticed that I got a lot of views talking about should black women marry white men, Aaron Kamina calling a blogger a gorilla. I have a lot of views for that. But when I try to discuss about India issues, I say, hey, let's discuss about India, because I've talked about India back in 2018. I only got 10 views, 2 likes. Mostly I get 2 likes. I'm a small channel. And it's a copyright for let's discuss about the India issues again, shall we? So this is my whole issue with YouTube. I just don't understand, like, what exactly can you make? Like, it seemed like they want you to keep talking about celebrity gossip. They don't have an issue with that. But when you talk about topics that are really trying, just was saying on that Forbes page, it was talking about how we want everybody to express themselves, but we really can't. You really can't express yourself. And it's not good that the pro people and the anti people, they're going at it, and that's not helping with the topic. So now you can't talk about these things. And I've said that I was going to stop talking about it, but it's really, what can you talk about? I was going to talk about Nicki Minaj, but it seemed like people's videos got blocked for talking about the Nicki Minaj incident. Not with her husband, the one with her and her Twitter. Yes, that one, the one with her and Twitter, that topic. So some people got blocked and banned, so you can't even talk about it. So what I'm saying is, so I want to add this on before I end the video. I wasn't, but I'm going to. I know you guys heard about what Don Lemon has said about, Nicki Minaj. I thought it was very disrespectful. I mean, just last year he was all for, Black Lives Matter, and here he is, he's trashing a black woman. So I don't understand why he was trying to defend it last year, and all of a sudden this year, I mean, you're trying to defend Black Lives Matter, but you can't even defend a black woman for her to speak her voice. Even if it's right or wrong, let people talk, let them research, let them look up things. But we already heard about that. I'm not gonna replay what he said, but everybody done seen that video where he talked about, you guys don't want to take the shot, but you want to take a shot in the butt and all this stuff and shot in your face. He was very disrespectful, and I'm not gonna, even play his video because it's been played so many times. He was very disrespectful. But I want to play things off of small channels on social media as to what's going on out here when it's talking about the topics that I discuss. So let me play these videos for you. And once I play these videos, I want you guys to really listen to these people and hear what they got to say about certain things that's happening. And I'm also going to play an interesting video that nobody else had played. And this was, I believe this was on the news, but it's surprising to me that nobody really is sharing this. But it's two videos I want to show you. Give me a sec.
Mr. Becerra, are you familiar with an Israeli study that had 2.5 million patients and found that the vaccinated group was actually 7 times more likely to get infected with COVID than the people who had gotten COVID naturally?
Senator, I'd have to get back to you on that one. I'm not familiar with that study.
Well, you think you might want to be if you're going to travel the country insulting the millions of Americans, including NBA star Jonathan Isaac, who have had COVID, recovered, look at a study with 2.5 million people and say, well, you know what? It looks like my immunity is as good as a vaccine or not. And in a free country, maybe I ought to be able to make that decision. Instead, you've chosen to travel the country calling people like Jonathan Isaac and others, myself included, flat earthers. We find that very insulting, goes against the science. Are you a doctor or a medical doctor?
I've worked over 30 years on health policy.
You're not a medical doctor. Do you have a science degree? And yet you travel the country calling people flat earthers who have had COVID, looked at studies of millions of people, and made their own personal decision that their immunity they naturally acquired is sufficient. But you presume somehow to tell over 100 million Americans who have survived COVID that we have no right to determine our own medical care. You alone are on high, and you've made these decisions, a lawyer with no scientific background, no medical degree. This is an arrogance coupled with an authoritarianism that is unseemly and un-American. You, sir, are the one ignoring the science. The vast preponderance of scientific studies, dozens and dozens, show robust, long-lasting immunity after COVID infection. Even the CDC does not recommend measles vaccine if you have measles immunity. The same was true for smallpox. But you ignore history and science to shame the flat earthers, as you call them. You should be ashamed of yourself and apologize to the American people for being dishonest about naturally acquired immunity. You want more people to choose vaccination? So do I. You want to lessen vaccine hesitancy? So do I. You want to have that happen? Quit lying to people about naturally acquired immunity. Quit lording it over people, acting as if these people are deplorable and unwashed. Try persuasion instead of government cudgels. Try humility instead of arrogance. Try freedom instead of coercion. But most of all, try understanding that there's no more basic medical right than deciding what we inject into our bodies. Today, after hearing that millions of people in a study show without a doubt that there's a great deal of immunity from getting it naturally, do you want to apologize to the 100 million Americans who suffered through COVID, survived, have immunity, and yet you want to hold them down and vaccinate them? Do you want to apologize for calling those people flat earthers?
Mary. Mary is from the White Girlicus basicus family. She resides in Moreno Valley, California, and operates almost exclusively on pumpkin-flavored drinks and scented candles. And sometimes when people like this wake up and realize mayonnaise has more flavor than they do, they choose violence. And in Mary's case, the arena for this violence was a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Anaheim, California, that discriminated against her when they said,
I understand that there's no mandate in Orange County.
Okay, and we have to reserve the right to refuse service, so
That
you guys
doesn't
can
work.
leave the building,
That
please.
doesn't work for medical.
She doesn't.
I have a disability. That doesn't work for
Okay, so
disability.
you guys
What's your name?
please leave.
What's your name?
Can I see your phone, baby? Can I see your phone?
Can you please leave?
No,
No.
I cannot please leave.
We're
You
not
can call
gonna
the
serve
police.
you.
You can
We're
call
not
the
gonna
police.
serve you. You can leave. You can leave.
Could we get your business card, please?
You can leave, fine. Thank you. You can leave.
You're doing loud. Don't
You
touch
cannot come
me.
in our area. You cannot come in our area. Do not walk up on me.
You just
I did
touched
not
me.
touch you.
You
I
just touched
your
me.
phone.
Waffles, but
You're
y'all
not
are
gonna get
discriminating.
anything out of here. Get up out of here.
All right, guys.
staged encounter where she absolutely targeted Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. She was not there to have a meal. She was there to pull an anti-mask event and get footage of it. And I say that with confidence because she's a part of several groups like this, and she has been a very outspoken protester in that area, especially pushing anything QAnon. Oh, let's not forget that she threw the R slur in there for good measure. Now, what I find interesting is that out of all the businesses that she could have targeted, not just restaurants, businesses that have mask mandates, she chose Roscoe's, a restaurant chain founded by a black man that is a shining example of what black-centric successful businesses can look like. And her targeted harassment of that business and its employees doesn't stop with the video because she's planning to stage a protest there on the 25th. I think some people may want to show up to that event, Mary. People who don't agree with you. The funny thing, Mary, is that you wanted to target Roscoe's and make them believe that they aren't welcome in the community. And I think what you're going to find is that the community has decided you're the one who isn't welcome.
But after doing my research and things of that nature, I felt like it was best suited for not only me, but for my family and for my friends. And, and that's why I decided to do it. So, but as far as, I don't, you guys should know me, anything that I talk about, I don't talk about other people and what they should do. I speak for me and for my family, and, that's what it's about. I did for me and my family. I know some of my friends and what they did for their families. But as far as speaking for everybody and their individualities and things that they want to do, I don't feel like that's not my job.
All right, so if you was confused about the first video I showed you, it was about Senator Rand Paul. He was challenging his HHS Secretary Xavier Beckrecker on the Biden's administration's V-shot mandates. And he was talking about having a natural immunity system. It can fight virus. And I've always said that there were a lot of people who survived the virus last year in 2020, and we're still not talking about those people. So what he was saying is let people use their natural immunity if they want to. So I thought that was a good point that was brought out in that video. I'm gonna put a link to that description of this conversation so you can see it yourself in the description box. Now, the next thing that I showed was there was a white woman. She picked a particular place. She was against wearing the mask, but she picked a place of all the spaces. She picked that place that had the mask mandate still in their own personal business. Because what people don't understand, private owned business, they can do. That's their business. They can kick you off their property anytime they want. They're not owned by anybody. That was their own private business. And that's what the guy was explaining. The TikToker was trying to explain about this young lady who went in there. I mean, yes, you have every right if you don't want to wear a mask, but at the same time, somebody can kick you out of their, establishment for not wearing a mask. So you have to keep that in mind too, as well, when you're going in there. So it just shows you the negative side and the positive side of, yes, you can have your rights and you can freely talk about it, but so do others. So I wanted also to bring out, I showed the video about LeBron James and how the reason why he had to take it. Yes, he said he'd take it for him and his family, but we all know why he had to take the shot. So it's funny to me how somebody in the chat, I mean, in the comment area said he had all this time to research. I guess it's just a coincidence that the league isn't letting them play without it. It's easier for this person to say that because he's not in LeBron James' shoes, and he's not making millions playing basketball, so it's easier for him to type that in the comment area. I mean, you want him not to take the shot and then get fired and don't have a job? Or what? I mean, what do you want him to do? This is the problem that I'm hearing, is that a lot of people have to take this shot because for job. The job told them they have to take it or else they have no job. Or what are you going to do? Not work? Not take care of your family? He has a whole family to take care of. This is where it's just like everybody else. My friend, she had to take it. She has a daughter. She's a single mom. So she had to take it. She's like, I don't have any choice. Either I'm going to get, they turning off the freaking, what's that thing? The COVID-19 unemployment. They don't turn that off. It's just regular employment now. So you can't say that you got fired now because of you not taking the V shot. I mean, come on, people. Like, right now, it's just, this topic is just getting so wishy-washy. And it's like, at this point, it's just getting ridiculous. I mean, this is why I really don't want to talk about it. It just hurts my head. Let me go ahead and get back to the original video. I'm done with this. I'm basically going to just try to talk about, community issues, like issues that happen in small, Black people community issues. Sometimes when you talk about Black community issues, it's other races, it's there as well. So issues like that, doing reaction videos to what somebody said about somebody else, topics like that. I don't think that I'm ever gonna touch these topics, but the V shot and the C virus. I was going to, but I was told not to do it. So, the person was like, don't do it. A lot of people are getting their stuff banned. A lot of people, it's just not staying that long on social media afterwards. Just like I showed you the guy earlier, he makes some really good stuff. He talks about some really good topics on Instagram, but because he talks so much about the V shot and the C virus, and he talks about it and he doesn't have good information about it, sometimes his information is false. Just like I stated, when they talk about the amplification effect, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, that's the amplification effect. So they're gonna block it. Let me know what you guys think of this. I didn't want to make this video too long. I can make an hour-long video of this. There's so many people that's getting blocked and banned and deleted. I was just, watching somebody stream on YouTube, and they said that they never got monetized until they went to Twitch. Like, they've been begging YouTube to give them monetization. They're past 2,000 views. 2,000 subs, and they're past 4,000 views, and YouTube didn't give them the monetization. So they went to Twitch, got Twitch affiliated. And when they got Twitch affiliated, then YouTube was like, oh, we're going to give you monetization. So I don't know. I think that's kind of funny to me that they tell you, like, YouTube tells you that it's 1,000 subs and 4,000 views. Whereas I try to tell people Twitch is 50 subs and three consecutive people in your chat. They make you Twitch affiliated. I'm just kind of looking back at these platforms, and I want to know, what is the qualification to get, make money off your channels? Why is it that YouTube is 1,000 subs now, 4,000 views? It didn't used to be like that. It used to be a lower number. Why has the number have gone high? And why is it that people makes this number, they still not monetizing them? I just want to know. Like, nobody question this up. Like, I question it up all the time. Maybe it's just me. Oh, Nia, shut up. You're not monetized. But yeah, it doesn't. No, it's a big deal, because if people are getting 1,000 subs like they're supposed to and 4,000 views, why aren't they monetized on YouTube? Why is it that YouTube monetizes them when they leave? YouTube. Anyway, let me know what you think of the video down below. My next topic most likely will be about Black women here. Yeah, it's gonna be my next topic. But anyway, I shall see y'all later. Peace.